Don't just travel the globe, taste it. Welcome to MojoTravels, and today we'll be discussing top 10 cities around the world where you have to eat in 2020. Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to MojoTravels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the most exciting, unique, and thriving culinary scenes from around the world according to Eater. Number 10. Akko, Israel. It might not be the city with the most name recognition in the country of Israel, but Akko certainly features prominently on the culinary map. In 2019, the Wall Street Journal called it Israel's best-kept secret. A Mediterranean coastal city, Akko is arguably the single best place in the country for fresh seafood, but it also does most traditional Israeli dishes proud. And because Akko is such a multicultural city, the food on offer is similarly diverse, drawing influence from Palestine, Yemen, and beyond. While there are a handful of restaurants being run by chefs of world renown, like El Masa, the vast majority of the mouth-watering dishes you'll try in Akko are being served from carts and unassuming little restaurants and family-run establishments. The hummus, olives, baked goods, and seafood are all must-tries. Number 9. Cork, Ireland. Cork is the second largest city in Ireland, but it's definitely first in food. Cheap eats, pub grub, baked goods, international cuisine, gourmet preparations, traditional plates. Heck, Cork even excels at vegetarian food thanks to Cafe Paradiso. At the epicenter of this incredible culinary scene is the English market, which can trace its roots all the way back to 1788. The market covers everything you could need, but it's the local cheeses and meats, along with traditional Cork market dishes, that you simply must try, including tripe, drisheen, and crubines. As for the restaurants, there are too many notable ones to name. On top of it all, Cork also does beer extremely well, both traditional preparations and craft beer. Cork is without doubt the culinary capital of Ireland, but we think that's being modest. It can compete with the very best that Europe has to offer. Number 8. Marrakesh, Morocco. If you're traveling in search of flavor, this is where you should get off. Marrakesh is world renowned for its heavily spiced, aromatic dishes. For the record, the food of Marrakesh isn't typically spicy in the hot sense, but rather just heavily treated with various savory spices, berries, and fruit. Olives, oranges, and lemons, all of which are abundantly available in the area, are some of the most commonly used ingredients. You could easily spend weeks in Marrakesh and still only manage to taste a fraction of the dishes available. But if there's one preparation that everyone should try in their lifetime, it's the city's trademark Tangia Marrakechia, beef slow-cooked in a tagine with a special blend of spices and smen, a clarified butter-type ingredient that has a strong cheesy flavor. The city has always done its traditional dishes well, but as its international reputation rises, the food scene is also becoming increasingly diverse and exciting. Number 7. Richmond, Canada. We know, after Marrakesh, a city that you've likely never even heard of in Canada seems like an odd choice. But that honestly just makes Richmond's status as a top-tier food destination all the more impressive. It's really had to earn it. Richmond is a coastal city in British Columbia and is technically part of the larger Metro Vancouver Regional District. Vancouver as a city does very well for itself in terms of the culinary scene, but Richmond has notably pulled ahead as a hyper-concentrated area of authentic and cutting-edge Asian cuisine. Top Chef Canada judge Mijun Pak has gone so far as to call Richmond the best to be found outside of Asia. The New York Times have similarly singled out Richmond as having perhaps the best Asian food in North America. And the best thing is, there's great food in Richmond at every price point. Number 6. Malmö, Sweden. Located at Sweden's southern extremity on the west coast, and being the country's third biggest city, Malmö hasn't generally been considered a must-visit city. In fact, up until recently, many would have argued that its heyday had long since come and gone. But the last 2 decades have seen this city looking forward in a number of regards, including biotech, architecture, and its university. And when you manage to attract both new businesses and students, food isn't far behind. Today, Malmö's culinary scene is a thriving one, characterized by a focus on local ingredients, minimizing waste, and unbridled creativity. perhaps most enticing, is the fact that it's very much a global food scene. Enophiles take note. Malmö is on the cutting edge of the natural wine trend, ensuring that a perfect pairing is always within reach. Number 5. Nagoya, Japan. Beginning to notice a pattern? Us too. Cities that are relatively secondary in terms of population, political importance, and economic clout seem to be fertile breeding grounds for world-class culinary scenes. Nagoya is Japan's 4th largest city, but it doesn't often make it onto travel itineraries. After being added to the Michelin Guide in 2018, however, Nagoya is finally getting the attention it deserves. From a culinary perspective, the major draw is Nagoya meshi, a culinary tradition distinct to the city and the surrounding region. Some of the most common elements found in Nagoya cuisine are tamari, shrimp, cochin chicken, and wide, flat udon noodles. Some of the dishes you must absolutely try in Nagoya include tebesaki, a type of fried chicken, toriwasa, organ meat sashimi, and hitsumabushi, an eel dish. Number 4. Marseille, France. France is widely considered to be among the most influential nations, culinary-wise, in the world. But while there's no shortage of great restaurants to try in Paris, the overwhelming number of tourists can detract from the experience, especially if your server has been dealing with them all day. Also, the dishes being served tend to be traditional. In Marseille, however, French cuisine is not only delicious and refined, but also ambitious and unafraid to experiment. Marseille is bursting at the seams with young talents and fresh palates who are taking the French classics and reinventing them by drawing from other cultures, especially those of Northern Africa and the Mediterranean. The end result is a culinary scene that feels inspired, and, relative to Paris anyway, surprisingly affordable. Marseille has been experiencing a cultural renaissance, and food is one of the driving forces. Number 3. Gyeongju, South Korea. Korean food has only fairly recently begun to make major waves internationally, and now that people have been exposed to its unique appeal, the newly converted are flocking to its country of origin. There's plenty of quality Korean food to be had in Seoul, but if you're letting your taste buds put together the itinerary, then the coastal city of Gyeongju is where you're likely to wind up. With only about 250,000 residents, it's a small city, but it's big on flavor. The cuisine of Gyeongju is in keeping with that of Gyeongsang province, in that it's notably salty and spicy. And Gyeongju bread is a specialty that, despite being popular nationally, originated in the city. Other Gyeongju specialties include muk, starch jelly, sambap, lettuce wraps, and haejangguk, oxbone broth soup. Though there are great meals to be had at every price point, you can honestly eat extremely well even if limiting yourself to street food. Number 2. Monterrey, Mexico. Northeastern Mexico is a land of beef barbacoa and cabrito, young goat grilled on a spit over embers, where weekends often feature carne asada as a meal to bring the family together. In 2016, celebrated chef Guillermo Gonzalez Beristain called Monterrey Mexico's best-kept gastronomic secret and said that a focus on regional cuisine is what makes it so special. The scene is overwhelmingly populated by chef owners, meaning that the food being served is exactly what the chef wants to be cooking. And when a chef is allowed to get creative and follow their instincts, you can taste the passion in every bite. From the most humble, hole-in-the-wall joints turning out regional classics from family recipes, to the city's most high-end establishments bringing global inspiration to the city, one thing is constant: flavor always comes first. Number 1. Georgetown, Malaysia. Also known as the city of Penang Island, this former British settlement is today a foodie hub par excellence, one of the best places to eat in Asia and among the top culinary destinations in the world. What makes Georgetown so special is that it's a melting pot that melds cuisines from all across Southeast Asia and beyond, and the locals aren't afraid to get creative with fusion cuisine. And the best part is, it's mostly super affordable street food being sold from carts and little stands. With so many food-centric suburbs, streets and areas to explore, including Gurney Drive, New World Park, Chulia Street, Penang Road and Ayer Tam, it sometimes feels like all of Georgetown is one big food hall or hawker center. You should sample as much as you can, but Assam laksa soup, an Ochen oyster omelette, a nasi kandar curry selection, and curry mee noodle soup are must-tries. While you're digesting all that delicious food, you can walk around and appreciate the city's beautiful street art. Georgetown is truly a feast for the senses. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MojoTravels. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.